So, man, it's exciting to be back. I am looking forward to giving my thoughts on one of the biggest conundrums I've ever had in reviewing stuff. And not only reviewing here, but also talking to other people and explaining to other people what's going on and what's happening. It is kind of one of those things that I've had a hard time, and I said this in the past where I've been doing a hangout with Ben. The HTC U11 has been the hardest thing for me to do a review on. I've written the review several times, 5 total times, and the more I do it, the more I realize what a conundrum the phone is. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but there's just so many things about it that make it a great phone for the average person. But at the same time, it's a little bit frustrating for some people who use their phone a lot and rely on it a lot. So in this review, I want to talk about 3 major things in regards to the HTC U11. The first thing is let's get it out of the way. This is my daily driver phone. I use this phone every day, have for several months now. I purposely bought it just to be used as a daily driver. So I'm not using a mix of 2 or 3 phones and then comparing those two. I'm not doing that. This has solely been the phone I've been using. Overall, I give it an awesome, if you want to do a 9 to 10, if you want to do a 1 to 10 on the score, I would personally give it an 8.5. It does 95% of everything that I want perfectly fine. There have been a few hiccups. There have been a few things that make me wonder what they're thinking, but I'll get to those in a minute. The first thing I want to talk about is the actual phone itself. It is a gorgeous phone. There's no doubt about it. It's the best looking phone out there that I think. Externally, it's gorgeous. I don't have a problem. I know a lot of people were talking about the front of it looks kind of boring and plain, and I'm fine with that because that really is the place that's doing one of 2 things. One, it's sitting next to my face when I'm talking on it, and 2, the only thing I'm using it for is to view stuff, and I don't really care what it looks like because nobody's really seeing it. But it's the back. It is that gorgeous liquid, I don't know what you want to call it, liquid metal, liquid grooviness, liquid goodness, but it is stunning. It's stunning in every light. I have the blue, and sometimes it looks a very, very light blue, more like a sky blue. Sometimes it looks almost silver. Sometimes it's a very deep, dark blue. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't see another phone that's getting close to it as far as those looks go. I just don't see it. Yes, there's some good looking phones out there, but in sheer gorgeousness factor, and I don't know what you want, I don't even know if that's right English right there, but I'm going with it. It's tops. It is the #1 most gorgeous phone I have ever seen and ever held. The fit and finish, the polish, how it's put together is very well done. I cannot fault any part of the phone at all in those regards, not a single one. It's absolutely the best phone I've ever had. But coming with that liquid grooviness that it is, the sucker's slippery. It is slicker than an eel in mud on a hot summer rainy day. It just goes all over the place. You must have a case on it. You must have something to keep it from sliding. Fortunately, HTC puts in a clear case, and that actually is all you need. You don't need anything else. But you got to have something for this thing. You know, I know they've got gorgeous pictures out there with people holding the phone without a case and in their pocket, looking all prettified. But in reality, yeah, everybody's putting a case on it because you have to. You can't get away from that. The width is a good size width for my hands. I have probably a little bit larger than the average hands, not much, just a little bit. And it works perfectly in my hand. There are some aspects that I cannot do one-handed, but for the most part I can. The one fault I have with it, as far as the external features and things of that nature, is the fact that the capacitive buttons are down on the bottom in the bezel near the fingerprint sensor. While I initially thought, man, that's a great idea, I kind of like that, because then it doesn't take away from the screen when you have the on-screen buttons. But now that I've used them, now that I've tried to hold the phone with those capacitive buttons, part of my fat thumb clicks a button and it does something. When you try to hold it, you've got to hold it a specific way in order to keep from hitting those buttons, and that really is annoying. They just need to get rid of the capacitive buttons, put them on screen the way it really should be, and then you can do so much more with those bezels. I don't have a problem with the bezels. The bezels give you something to hold, and a lot of people want a bezel-less phone, and I can see that. I can see the appeal in that. But when I'm watching a movie, I want to hold the phone. I don't want to sit there and have to do some funky hold where only tips of my fingers are holding it because, you know, I can't see half the screen or the bottom part of the screen. I'm missing part of the movie because that's where my hands are. So for me, the bezels are a good thing. And I think more manufacturers should keep bezels because they're useful. They're physically useful. Yes, some people don't like them, but you know, hey, I'm a guy whose function overlooks any day, you know, and that's really where it needs to go. The second thing I want to talk about is the software experience. From the very beginning, when I first got my very first HTC phone, which was HTC Evo 4G on Sprint, I loved HTC since. I've loved that skin. I've loved what they've done with it. I've loved how they modernized it to a certain degree. They've lessened the amount of it in some areas and kept some other areas up to date. I like that. I like the skin. I like the looks. I like the font. There's nothing I don't like about it. But I have had some issues with the software. And primarily I think it's on the app side, more so than anything else. But say, for example, I click an app and it brings it up, but I didn't want that, so I hit the fingerprint sensor to go back home. Well, it just hangs there for a second. And I got to hit it again, then it will go back. So I'm not sure if I'm going to blame that on HTC software, if I'm going to blame it on the phone, if I'm going to blame it on Android itself. I don't know. But all I know is when I hit that home button, that's where I want to go. I don't want to have to wait on it. I don't want to hang out and see if it's making itself pretty before it comes down the steps so we can finally leave. I want it to be done. I want it to get to where I need to. So I've had some hiccups with that. It has been smooth as butter, and that is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, there have been some times when I have swiped and nothing's happened. And there have been some times when I have looked at some things and then gone back and nothing's happened. Or when I hit the multitask key and it takes a second to kick in. Now, I've gone back and I've looked to see if maybe I had a lot of apps running and just a lot of stuff in the background, plugging that up, and I really haven't. 2 or 3 apps, because I generally keep that stuff clean. There's no reason for me to keep all 27,000 things open that I deal with. But I also realize that there's an issue somewhere in there that's keeping it from happening. And it could just be me and my phone, could just be the way I operate it. I don't discount that. But at the same time, you know, that might be an issue. Software-wise, everything's good on that regards. So physically it's good. Software-wise it's good. But there are just some things that make you go, what? And that's what I want to talk about now. I got the phone, and the first thing I did was play with the squeeze function on it. Works awesome. It really does. You got to squeeze it in a certain area. Yes, it takes you through a process where you look at it, and sometimes I squeeze too hard, but that's fine. Sometimes I barely squeeze and it doesn't do anything, and that's fine because I think I set it to be a little bit on the harder squeeze kind side. So I don't have an issue with that. But there have been times when I've squeezed it and nothing's happened. There have been times when I'm just holding the phone and I go to press something and I see these little blue dots come across from the side like this, boop, 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 boop. And you know that's the squeeze function, but there's no squeezing going on. So that's a little frustrating. And when you try to take a screenshot, that can be a little frustrating if you don't have it set to squeeze. Then you see those little blue dots, or you have to hold your hand in a funky way to make the screenshot work, because the placement of the buttons of the power and the volume button is pretty doggone close. So that's a little funky. That's annoying because you want a clean screenshot, but at the same time you get these blue little dots coming across and they show up on the screenshot, so then you have to redo it, or maybe they're right smack dab where you want the information that you were taking the screenshot of to begin with, and that is annoying. So I wish there was a way to do that. Yes, you can turn off the squeeze function. Yes, that's in there, and that's a beautiful thing. But, you know, if you're going to use squeeze, why do I have to go back into it to turn it off just so I can take a screenshot? But by the time I do all that, I might have missed the reason why I wanted to take the screenshot. So you have to choose either you want it on all the time or you want it off all the time. And that's frustrating. The other thing I want to talk about is, and this is the most annoying thing I found in this phone. This one item, one singular item that annoys the ever-loving crap out of me all the time. When you go to do video in 4K mind you, and you're doing the video, it caps it at 6 minutes. Let me rephrase that. Let me re-say it. Let me put it to you a different way. When you hit the record button to do video, it has a 6-minute countdown timer. Why on God's green earth does it have a timer? I understand on the camera like the Sony RX100 Mark V has that. No other phone that I have seen does a 6-minute countdown in 4K. Even my Nexus 6 that recorded in UHD didn't have a countdown timer. That is the single most annoying, frustrating. You want to just go over and knock somebody out because somebody capped the time. I would understand if there was a countdown if you were recording internally. If it said, okay, you only have 25 gigabytes of space internally, so you can only record 4 minutes of video. I'll give you that. I'm recording to an external SD card, a 256 gigabyte SD card with plenty of space, and it's still giving me a 6-minute countdown. Why? No countdown in 1080, 4K, 6 minutes. Why? What if I want to record something that's longer than 6 minutes, but I can't do it in 4K because now I'm capped at 6 minutes? So I have to convert, I have to go down to 1080p to record longer than 6 minutes. That literally for families, okay? For the average family who's maybe taking pictures of their kids and videos of a specific thing and they want to do it, it blows HTC out because now those people have to decide what's more important. People buy the newer phones because they want the 4K recording. Yes, a lot of people say 1080p is fine, and it perfectly is. But if you give me the option of 4K, I want it all. Not just a little part of it, I want it all. And that is the most annoying part about this phone. It takes awesome pictures. It does it fast. The autofocus is good. When you do video and you do the zooming in on the video and you see how it captures the audio of whatever you're zooming in and takes kind of everything out of the background, I give props where props are due, and that is awesome. Love it. The call quality is great. There's no other really major fault for this phone other than this 4K. Now, if you don't care about 4K, then you can just go buy and get the phone, because I will recommend it all day long. It is an awesome phone for 95% of the people. It really is. It does everything well. It does it good. It does it responsive. It looks awesome. It feels good. It's easy to hold. Great quality. Everything's beautiful. Except for the 4K mode. And that's just annoying. So, bear in mind, if you get the phone and you want to shoot a lot of 4K, you got less than 6 minutes, people. That's it. Now, I recorded up to 6 minutes and saw what happened. I didn't see any overheating issues. I didn't feel it on the phone. I did it without the case. I did it in the middle of the day when it was 95 degrees, and I didn't have a single problem of overheating or any problems of that nature. So I'm not sure why they cap it at 6 minutes, but they do. The final thing I want to talk about before I do my overview of the phone, I don't care about the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That's going by the way of the dodo. Color it done. It's finished. It's kaput. No more. Get over it. Okay? Just get over it. So the earbuds, earphones, whatever you want to call them, that HTC puts in the box with your phone are good. There's no problem at all. They sound great. The sonic thing does a great job. Noise cancellation is good. It's not anywhere close to if you got over the ears or a different type of in-ear monitor, if you will, but it does its job very well, and they're very good. Very, very well made, good sound, good quality, not a single complaint. Those are my to-go-to headphones now for everything, except for just listening to my Blue microphone. That's it. Everything else, I got them. With the USB-C, no problems at all. The biggest thing for when it comes to movies and it comes to audio, when you don't have the headphones, is the speaker. HTC, please, for the love of God, bring back the front-facing speakers. Every phone I've heard that has front-facing speakers automatically sounds better. Bam, done. My Nexus 6, they sound better, meaning they are louder. They got more stuff coming out. So when I'm watching a movie on the Nexus 6, it's there. I don't have to do this stupid cupping of the hand movement to get the sound in my hand to come at me. I don't have to do that. They come at me when they should. It's much, much better. Front-facing speakers will always beat out one lone single speaker. Yes, I know they're doing some fantastic things, and yes, it sounds good when you're up to about 75% of volume level. But when you go higher, because you have to on some things, you start getting a tingy sound in there. You start hearing that it's maxing out. You can tell that it's not very good. And it really isn't. I know a lot of people have been giving it props for the speaker, but in reality, a single lone speaker at the bottom of a phone will never be better than front-facing speakers. When you did the M9, you killed it. I mean the M8, excuse me, the M8, you killed it. You absolutely killed it. Those were the best. I still have that phone at the house, and I still use it for movies or something easy that I really want to do and watch, because that little screen is still good and those speakers are still awesome. The screen on this is awesome, but the speaker stinks, so I don't really want to use it for watching movies, which is kind of a disappointment because it has such a great screen, and it's a beautiful screen. But again, I can't really talk about the screen because I lose the speaker, and that's frustrating because you need them both if you're going to watch movies. It's a tandem event. If I wanted to just watch the screen, then I just turn the volume down. Well, then that's the waste. So the speaker, good for everybody, average person. But if you really want some good movie sounding speakers, you want to do something good, then you got to have the front-facing speakers. You just have to. So where does this phone land, and why is it such a conundrum? And here is where it comes. And let's wrap this up. The phone is gorgeous. It's easy to use. It's beautiful software that works 99.8% of the time. At least for me, it did. It takes stunning pictures, has great video. If you do it in less than 6 minutes, 4K, but 1080p is good. The audio on it is awesome for recording. It does a great job, especially if you zoom in. No complaints there. The speaker, meh, right? The screen, physically looking at it, gorgeous. But I'm already looking for a new phone. That's where the conundrum is. This phone is great for 95% of the people out there. I would almost call it the perfect phone. Almost. Okay? If you can live with the capacitive keys, the speaker, and the slipperiness, then it's your phone. It really is. I think it's much better than a lot of the other phones out there. It's right there at the top. I think it's right there at the top. But if you're like me and you expect your $700 to go further, then you're looking for a new phone. I went and looked at the Sony XZ Premium. It's $700. And it's got its own flaws. But at the same time, why am I even looking at the Sony XZ Premium when I have such a great phone? Why do I want to buy the new Razer phone when I have such a great phone? Why am I looking at the LG V30 when I have such a great phone? And there's the conundrum. And it's not that I love technology and I want more technology, but when I spend the money that I've spent for my phone, I don't want to be looking for another phone 4, 5, 6 months later. Especially if it's not broken or anything wrong with it, which there's not. So why am I looking for another phone? And that is the conundrum. That is what is driving me insane, because I love HTC products. They are very well made, very well thought out. They're good. And yet I'm looking for something else. Why? If you know, put your comments below. If you can understand it, put them below. But I'll tell you this. Would I recommend this phone over, say, the Galaxy S8? Yes, I would. Because it's trimmed down. I think it's a little better. I think it looks a little better. I think it feels a little better. And I've had them both. But I would only recommend it to people who maybe didn't want all the fluff and the Samsung skin. If you like Samsung skin, then the S8 is a great phone. I think they're personally even. I think it just depends which way you go. Some people like Samsung more, some people don't. I think if you're a Samsung fan, then you get the S8. If you're not, then what you get is HTC U11. Now, we've got some other things coming up that we're really going to try and see. And, you know, I've got some trips going. I've got some things happening personally. And I've got to see if the HTC U11 will handle it. And I think it will. But in the back of my head, way back here, I'm wondering, what new phone do I really want to take with me? Do I want to buy the LG V30? Do I want to use the new Razer phone, which I've already put my name in the hat for that? Or do I want to just stick with the HTC U11? I'm not going to buy a Samsung because I just don't prefer their phones over HTCs or anything else. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. I think Samsung's a great phone. I just prefer something else. But I'm torn. And I hope other people realize that being torn about a product is a bad thing. I never wanted another phone from HTC for all the years I've had them. Even when I bought the Nexus 6, I bought it because I wanted to check out Google's Fi/Fi network, and you needed the Nexus 6 at that time to do that. So that's the only reason why I had it, and I kept it so long. But I was so excited to come back to HTC U11. And now I don't regret having the phone, but I do wonder why I'm thinking of another phone. So, cap it all up, get the phone. Yes, it'll be a perfect phone for you. It'll be great for videos, everything else you want to do. Nothing wrong with it. Enjoy it. I love it. I'm still going to use it until I get another one, and then I'll probably change. Then I'll come back and tell you about it. But the one thing I do make sure I do is I protect myself. I have a VPN on that sucker, along with on my computer. So make sure that you're protecting yourself. Go to private internet access, get a VPN, protect yourself. Even if you're not doing anything wrong, you can never be too careful. Because remember, it's easier to stay out of trouble than it is to get in it. And then make sure you back your stuff up. Keep it backed up. Because you can always get a new computer. You can always get a new phone. But you might not always get those photos back. You might not always get the documents you need or the memories back. So make sure you back up your phone, back up your computers. If you have a server, back it up too. I use Backblaze both personally and professionally. It's an awesome tool. Easy, no fuss, no muss. Link in the description below. Go out and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day here in Dallas. Going to be in the 90s, kind of crazy. A couple days ago it was in the 50s. So you know there's going to be some sick people. Enjoy. Have a good day. Stay out of trouble. Be safe.